Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the lush and delectable IWC Portuguese Tourbillon reference 5463-05. This timepiece, released in 2013, is a 100-piece limited edition with this glorious combination of sunburst blue metallic dial and red gold case. Traditionally oversized, as the Portuguese line has been since the first in 1939, 43 millimeters, but wonderfully flat and elegant. The timepiece measuring only 11.3 millimeters thick and nicely constrained lug-to-lug. I can easily wear it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and you can see that the lug-to-lug dimension of 52.8 millimeters is nicely tapered at its edge to wrap around the wrist and work with the shape of your forearm. The spacing between the lugs, a contemporary 22 millimeters, so the watch does have a planted broad stance on the wrist. The strap is a handsome piece provided by IWC's Italian leather specialist partner, Santoni. You can see it's a gloss, large rectangular scale alligator leather on the top with a monotone stitch, a sheer edge that shows the layers of construction, gator leather on the top, and you can see the signal orange of Santoni calfskin on the bottom. It's not visible on the wrist, but that's how you know exactly what you're getting. Made in Italy and beautiful. This is one case where I'm glad the Swiss left things to outsourcing. Italian leather and a Swiss watch, as good as it gets. The timepiece with an, well, shall we just say, excessively rich buckle. Note it features the IWC logo, the medallion. It features satin finish, polished bevels. It features a beautiful polished internal aspect, and if you could see the base of the clasp body, you'd see that it's satin finished internally for contrasting finish where you'll almost never see it. It's also a lot of metal, and you can see vertical satin finish on the side with beveling on the back of the buckle. Every single millimeter of this component has been designed and executed, and you can see the mirror finished underside is curved to match the arc of the underside of your wrist. A very, very smart design and a beautiful one. The case band, slim and elegant. Every Portuguese more or less echoes the graceful aspect ratio of the first 1939 reference 325 Portugieser, which is to say it keeps the case band slim, nicely satin finished. It's a muted impression that contrasts with the polish of the case back and the polish of the concave bezel, and what a beautiful bezel designed with concave profile like a Patek Calatrava to visually pair the mass. The hoods of the lugs in high polish, and you can see the crown likewise in high polish with the IWC logo and motto. The timepiece also features a generously domed box section sapphire, and you can see that off-axis distortion that evokes the plexiglass crystals of 20th century Portuguesers. So it has the scratch resistance of sapphire, but the beauty of a traditional plexiglass. Let's give ourselves a bit more light, and you can see the good effect that not only is this a tourbillon, this is a flying tourbillon with no upper bridge, so nothing to obscure your view of the mechanism. The dial in classical Portugueser format with a railroad track outboard, applique hour indices, and applique red gold Arabic numerals in that classical font that has graced hundreds of thousands of IWC Portugueser references. You have a railroad track with a sub-seconds at 6 o'clock, again, true to history, with minimal text, Swiss-made IWC Schaffhausen. Keep it to that and teach Rolex a lesson. You don't need to write a tome on your dial to look good. Let's see how close we can get while keeping the tourbillon in focus. Okay, so IWC focuses on flying tourbillon. Relatively late to the tourbillon game with the Portuguese, they didn't arise until the mid-2000s, but they made up for lost time with beautiful mechanisms, framed by a satin and polished rose gold tourbillon bezel. You can see the entirety of the tourbillon carriage, which includes finished screws, beveled cage, and as you will note, there is a balance beaten away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It is exquisite, it is gorgeous, it is adjusted in 5 positions like a chronometer, and the 21 jewel movement features a batwing style full bridge on the back to brace the tourbillon, which actually pivots on bearings. It's a very contemporary tourbillon design, but you'll note the image of an IWC pocket watch manually wound with a 54-hour power reserve. You can see that the crown turns a crown wheel, a ratchet wheel with an elaborate extended click and click spring, just like a pocket watch. You can see it in action as it's drawn out and returned by its spring. You then follow the energy from the ratchet wheel, which sits atop the barrel, to a center wheel in true pocket watch format. A center wheel, you have a third wheel, a fourth wheel, and you don't have traditional third wheel, fourth wheel and escape wheel because you actually have a tourbillon, but you have that center wheel, you have the third wheel, you have the fourth wheel, you have an intermediate wheel, and then you have the tourbillon structure. And you can see that enormous wheel underneath the tourbillon with the escapement beating away. This is caliber 98900, hand finished and beautifully so. You can see that there's a sort of ripple-like Côte de Genève radiating out from the tourbillon. You can see that expanding ripple. You can see that the wheels of the ratchet wheel and the crown wheel feature a radial satin finish. There's engine turning across the plate. You can see that on the base plate as well as below the click spring. You'll also appreciate the beveled chamfer on the edge of the bridges as well as the chaton style setting of the jewels of the train. Beautifully evocative of the era of F.A. Jones, the American founder of IWC in the late 19th century. Nevertheless, this is a beautiful and contemporary flying tourbillon watch. Let me zoom out and do it justice one more time. The combination of the red gold and the metallic sunburst blue dial, an absolute killer. Wearable with just about anything, provided you've got the panache to pull off a 43mm red gold tourbillon, a handsome watch that'll fit underneath any cuff, and a beautiful feat of artisanship that will steal any heart. See it and make it yours on the watch box.